Eyewitness News.
You are looking at a live picture just north of the Ben Franklin Bridge on I-95. Ice is on the ground in some areas. Be very, very careful if you have to be out at all.
Today is Thursday, January the 14th, 1999. Good morning, everyone. I'm Amy Caples, in today for Pat Shiraki.
And I'm Yuki Washington. It is a messy, icy day, so let's head straight to the Weather Center to see how the day is shaping up weather-wise. Before we do, though, a quick reminder. Public schools and parochial schools are closed today. This just into Eyewitness News a few minutes ago. Public and parochial schools are closed today. We will be reminding you of that all morning long.
Let's get the details now from Carol on what we can expect this morning. Good morning, Carol. Good morning. Well, maybe you heard it on your windows last night. We did start to get some precipitation, so there is a glaze on the roads. Road crews have definitely been out, however, and a lot of the roads are actually in pretty good shape, but out around your house, it probably won't be because of that glaze. Your car windows will be all glazed in as well, and some of these secondary roads also not in very good shape at all this morning. We definitely have the cold air in place. 25 degrees Philadelphia right now, and in Wilmington, 32 in Dover, 35 in Atlantic City, 19 in Trenton. Now, there are winter warnings in effect, all those areas to the north and west of the city. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that significant icing could occur in those areas, and also several inches of snow could also be possible. So be very careful through there, particularly in the Lehigh Valley, also up in the Poconos, Upper Bucks County and Montgomery County as well. Right now, we are in a lull, and you might be able to see that right behind me in the action right now. But we are watching some precipitation starting to develop down in Maryland, and it will be working in our direction in the next couple of hours. So we'll be following it for you every step of the way. Let's go back to the news desk now. All right, thanks a lot, Carol. The Philadelphia area bracing for another round in this ice storm. Freezing rain has touched down periodically all over the region overnight, and more is on the way. Eyewitness News reporter Beth McDonough in the thick of it. She joins us live now from Upper Merion Township. Good morning, Beth.
Good morning to you. We are in the northern suburb of Upper Merion Township, as you just mentioned. And I can tell you that folks here, they are frozen over, and the streets, they are iced under. Now, PennDOT crews have been out all night long, of course, spraying salt and sand on the major roadways, but therein lies the problem. Generally, the PennDOT crews do not venture out into the suburbs, and we'll show you the result of that. There are still some iced over streets here. We are right along 202 here in Upper Merion Township. And folks are going to face some tricky travel troubles here this morning as you try to head out to work. That's because if you can get out of your garage and up your driveway, once you do hit the street right in front of your home, you face a bit of a problem because there are sheets of ice on these suburban side streets. So if you have a car where you need to tap on the brakes, indeed do that. If you have some of the newer cars where you just push hard on the brakes, and of course the engine itself will help to slow you down, do that as well, because as you come up on the stop signs at the end of these suburban side streets, you want to make sure that you don't roll through those stop signs. So again, you need to practice a little bit of patience this morning. Give yourself a little extra time to get out of the house because of these very icy suburban side streets. But once you finally do hit the Schuylkill, the Blue Route, or I-95, your travel, your commute should be just fine. Live in Upper Merion Township, Beth McDonough, KYW3 Eyewitness News.
All right, well, the conditions seem to be a little better in New Jersey this morning. It's wet in New Jersey, but the icy weather hasn't touched down there as of yet.
Eyewitness News reporter Dick Sheeran live now in Cherry Hill to check on conditions there. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning. Good morning from beautiful Cherry Hill. We are on Route 70 near Haddonfield Road, and all in all, South Jersey is in decent shape. But this is the tool of the day, and this is the chore of the day, because your greatest challenge will be this: scraping your car of ice. It's on driveways, it's on steps. That's going to be your biggest challenge here in South Jersey, negotiating your steps, getting to the car, and scraping the car. Now, as far as the roadways go, let's take a look at Route 70. Although it is icy on this parking lot and a lot of sidewalks, 70 has been salted. So have the other major roads here in South Jersey. Traffic is moving normally. It's kind of light at this hour, as you can imagine. But Route 130, 42, Haddonfield Road, 38 and 70, all in good shape. They're just kind of damp. They're not even wet. And right now, there's no precipitation at all falling. It did fall here earlier in South Jersey, but right now, we're not seeing anything coming out of the sky. All in all, we're in decent shape. Just watch yourself when you go out of your house. Watch the steps. As the only traffic restriction that we know of is on the New Jersey Turnpike above exit 7, they have reduced the speed limit. But down here, it's in good shape. And as far as even further south, down in the Hamilton area, they don't even have any ice. So that the line is kind of around Hamilton. Up here in Camden County, Burlington County, we do have some icy conditions. But all in all, we're in good shape. That's the latest. Keep this handy. That's it live from South Jersey. I'm Dick Sheeran, KYW3 Eyewitness News.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dick. Let's find out what kind of problems we have on the roadways already this morning.
Keeping spacing is going to be very important. John Valerio is in the KYW Traffic Center. John?
Morning.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Yuki. As you said, Yuki, keep some extra space between you and all those vehicles in front of you. You're going to need the stopping distance. Now, as the reporters have shown, the major roadways are in great shape. PennDOT and crews have been out there and very aggressive in the salting and sanding. You do want to use caution, as we've said before, on the elevated roadways, the ramps, the overpasses, the areas that aren't all that well traveled. And as Dick Sheeran had mentioned, Jersey Turnpike speeds reduced to 45 miles an hour, basically from Interchange 7 and north of that area as well. And let's take a look at the Ben Franklin tolls to show you that in this area, as we said, major roadways in good shape, mostly wet roadways in this area of roadway, and of course, very, very light volume as you make your way into the Philadelphia area. Now let's take a look at the Schuylkill Expressway where it meets the Vine Expressway. Here too, major roadway in very good shape, and once again, the Schuylkill Expressway has plenty of on and off ramps, and in all these areas, you really do want to be careful as you make your way out this morning, and again, slow way, way down. On icy roadways, you need at least 3 times the stopping distance that you would normally need on a dry road. Now, we'll take a look at the Schuylkill Expressway where it meets the Blue Route, actually underneath the Blue Route. You can see the volume heading to the left. That's eastbound on the Schuylkill. Now, earlier this morning, this was a very, very icy area, the on-ramps from the Blue Route to the Schuylkill Expressway, but crews have gotten out there and have taken care of this, and we're getting back to normal in this area. As you can see, cars moving along without any problems at all. Now, in northeast Philadelphia, the secondary roadways have been reported to be icy, so be careful. That's the latest from the KYW Traffic Center.
Okay, John, thank you very much. Of course, the best thing to do in conditions like this is to stay indoors, but if you have to go out, we have some numbers to help you out. If you rely on public transportation to help you get out and about, you can call SEPTA at 215-580-7800. Operators are standing by to give you the latest on delays and any information you might need. And if you're headed to the airport to either travel or pick up a loved one, it's probably a good idea to call ahead. And you can check on any flight delays or cancellations by dialing 1-800-PHL-GATE.
Preparing airport runways for storms like this is a big task and a big expense. Huge snow brushes are part of Philadelphia International's $10 million fleet of ice removal equipment. Tons of sandbags and salt also on standby today. It takes about $35,000 an hour to clear runways, not to mention the delays, but most passengers don't seem to mind.
I would be concerned if they weren't doing their job. I think it's wonderful that they're working so hard to make sure that we're safe.
When a storm threatens the airport, the FAA and the airlines make preparations days in advance. Officials say paying the big bucks to clear the runways is worth it, because if the airport has to shut down, the losses add up to $3 million an hour.
And of course, when bad weather strikes, there is always a concern over school closings. Once again, Philadelphia public and parochial schools are closed today, and there are some suburban schools closing as well. Now, be sure to stay tuned to KYW News Radio 1060 to get up-to-the-minute information on school closings in the greater Philadelphia region.
Still ahead on Eyewitness News, up-to-the-minute information on your weather and the conditions on area roadways this morning.
Plus, the impeachment trial of the president. House prosecutors begin opening statements today. And the jury in the Thomas Capano murder case is about to begin deliberations.
Meet guests who say they just want one last chance to save their failing relationships.
Look at her. Do you love her?
That's a hard question. Please, come back and be my wife.
On the next morning.
Today at 9 on KYW3. On the next Sally, they're the superstars of tomorrow. Sally's most talented kids. Next Sally. Today at 4 on KYW3.
Art clearance sale. This Sunday, collector's art will sell out paintings like this formal Victorian-style portrait, classic florals full of rich color, renditions of old masters, all at unbelievable savings. Plus, over 2,000 paintings to be sold out at $59 or less. Imagine beautiful hand-painted oils only $59. This Sunday only, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In King of Prussia at the Sheridan Valley Forge. In Cherry Hill at the Hilton. In Philadelphia at the Adams Mark Hotel. In Langhorne at the Sheridan...
Driver. Mountaineer, no problem.
You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
This Weather Center is sponsored by Chevrolet. Coming up during the next few minutes, we'll talk about the snow, the sleet, and the freezing rain, which is affecting the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, and the Ohio Valley this morning. There's some heavy rains, and there are some thunderstorms in the south in the warm air. More snow for the Midwest and also for the mountains of the Northwest, while some mild winter conditions will persist in the Southwest today, with some places close to 80 degrees this afternoon in Southern California. Our first stop shows the cloud cover on the satellite northwest through the plains, the Great Lakes and Northeast, and across the south, the overcast, a little brighter white in here. And on the infrared satellite, if you view us occasionally, you know that the brighter the white, that typically, not always, but usually indicates a higher, colder cloud top and the potential for more intense precipitation. That is the case this morning from northern Alabama into East Tennessee, where we have showers and storms. And in Huntsville, Alabama, frequent lightning at the top of the hour, along with some locally heavy rainfall. That's in the mild air in the warm sector down here. Farther north, very cold air. And actually sort of a battle of the weather elements on this Thursday morning. And here's what I mean by that. First of all, we have frigid Arctic air centered up in eastern Canada, and that Arctic air is sweeping south on north to northeast winds. And plus, we have moisture coming in on southwest winds in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, let's say. And as that precipitation falls, with the very cold readings in here, it's a frozen mixture all the way from southern New England through the Ohio Valley, parts of the Appalachians, and the Mid-Atlantic, too. Just about a half an hour ago, for one example of the different types of precipitation and the cold air, Newark, New Jersey was 12 degrees with freezing rain and sleet. And it's in the low 20s with freezing rain across southern Ohio and southern Pennsylvania. So with readings that cold and rainfall, you know it's freezing very quickly on outdoor objects. Some roadways obviously could be very, very slippery. Snowfall is pretty light, although there are some moderate pockets of snow mixed in. And there's another snow-producing low-pressure system out through Minnesota, and we'll talk more about that shortly. Northeast radar shows the snowfall in here. There's some darker green patches. That indicates where the heavier snows are coming down, like the northwest hills of Connecticut, through parts of the Catskills and the Poconos. Around New York City, precipitation is light, and it is a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and some freezing mist, freezing drizzle, and freezing rain. This is snow beginning to move into southern New England. It's not all reaching the ground because there's cold, dry air sweeping in on northeast winds, so a lot of the snowflakes are evaporating before they reach the surface, southern Vermont and southern New Hampshire. Down here in Connecticut, there's some snowfall. And one interesting aspect of this radar picture, notice the bands orientated northeast, southwest in here. That's in response to a cold northeast wind over the Atlantic Ocean, and this is ocean effect snowfall preceding the main snow or mixed precipitation from the storm coming in right out here over the Cape and the islands. And there may be a couple inches of snowfall here early this morning over Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, New York City. It's a blustery and very cold winter morning. Some freezing rain, well, near Baltimore, Rockville, and on the northwest side of Washington, D.C. There's enough cold air coming south that all of the D.C. area may have periodic frozen precipitation, mainly freezing rain, especially on the north and west side of and outside the Beltway in particular. Snow and sleet here, northern Pennsylvania, Williamsport to Coudersport to north of Pittsburgh. That's where the heaviest snows are expected now through this evening, and this is a band of 3 to 6 inches from Crawford County in Pennsylvania over to Ulster County in New York State, including the Poconos of Pennsylvania and the southern tier of New York State from Chautauqua County over through the Catskill region. Outside that 3 to 6 inch area, 1 or 2 or 3 inches southern New England, upper lakes, and out through the upper Mississippi Valley. Of course, we'll be refining this rain-snow line and the amounts as the day goes on, and there will be more snowfall tonight after early this evening, so we'll be adding to the snow totals in some areas. Temperatures right now show a wide variation in the Northeast, from 32 in D.C. to 7 in Boston, 17 in New York City. It's 21 below zero right now in Burlington and at Saranac Lake. Up in the Adirondacks, 23 below zero in the Arctic air. Some of the stations north of the St. Lawrence River in Western Ontario are 40 below zero this morning. So it is extremely cold Arctic air. In the south, by contrast, it's a mild morning in Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, and Atlanta, 40s and low 50s. 59 in Birmingham now, also New Orleans, and 66 degrees in Miami. Right through here, winds are out of the southwest, and it's bringing mild, humid air out of the Gulf of Mexico. You can see the moisture on the satellite picture, and on radar, by the way, plus we have a frontal boundary in here, so ahead of it, in the warm, relatively warm, moist air, we've got the rain in Crossville, Knoxville, Nashville. Northwest corner of Georgia, it's wet, and the northeast corner of Alabama, showery with a few thunder showers near Huntsville. And in western North Carolina, the rain has started, as well as eastern Kentucky. Southern Alabama wet too, and here in the Florida Panhandle, we have showers and thunder showers and a cluster of heavy storms out in the Gulf of Mexico pushing on to the northeast. Here's that warm sector and the heaviest rain just in advance of the slow-moving front, East Tennessee, down to the Gulf of Mexico. Behind the front, the air turns colder, and the atmosphere remains a little moist. So this morning we have a few pockets of snow and freezing drizzle over Kansas and Oklahoma, as well as southwest Missouri. Here's some more snow for you. Minnesota and western Wisconsin and Chicago. While it's not snowing significantly now, you may have up to an inch or two in some places, north and west of the city especially, by this evening. Detroit, some light snow in your forecast. 16 Chicago, 8 in Minneapolis, it's 20 in Kansas City, and 19 in St. Louis. By the way, Cincinnati is 22, and you've had freezing rain at times overnight, so conditions are icy on the highways in some cases. Take it easy. 23 in Denver, 30 is the reading in Salt Lake City. The southwest and the plateau dry, the northwest increasingly moist as a flow continues in off the Pacific Ocean. Look for sunshine in Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. In Chicago, there may be some light snow later. Detroit, too, as I mentioned. Around New York City and the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, wintry mix. Here's the way we see it. From now through this evening, snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Travel conditions here will be treacherous in some locations. Without a doubt, give yourself extra time to get to your destination. And by the way, we'll have live reports and a complete update coming up at the top of the hour at 6 a.m. Showers and storms in the south, some light snow, 23 Chicago, snow in Minneapolis, 12 degrees today.
This program was sponsored by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust.
sophisticated, stylish, and yet with an exhilarating V6. Chevy Monte Carlo lets you express that hidden part of your personality, just dying to get out.
Live picture for you of what you're waking up to today. It is icy out there, and the word is it'll get worse before it gets better. Live report coming right up.
On Capitol Hill, the impeachment trial of President Clinton resumes today in Washington. Prosecutors begin opening statements this afternoon.
And now it is the jury's turn in Delaware in the Tom Capano murder trial. They begin their deliberations this morning.
And good morning and welcome back to News 10 Today. I'm Connie Cola.
I'm Steve Levy. 6 o'clock, January the 14th. Good Thursday morning to you.
It is a busy morning out there. Let's start with the weather forecast, see where we are and where we're headed.
Bill Henley could be one of the busiest guys in town today.
I'm afraid this one will not be an easy one today. It is cold outside. We've had a little rain overnight, and that would be freezing rain. So there's a lot of ice out there this morning, and more expected not only this morning, but it should intensify this afternoon, and the temperature is going to stay cold. It's going to be a very slippery day. Our forecast is calling for freezing rain. We'll have some of it this morning and more of it this afternoon. It'll be on and off during the day. And periods of snow mainly to the north of Philadelphia, a high this afternoon of 25 degrees. We are going to see some improvement tonight, but during the day, lots of ice expected. Mark Davies of the News 10 Metro Traffic Center. How does it look so far this morning?
Well, so far what we're looking at looks pretty good. And we're looking at the major roads like that. That's 95 by about Bridge Street to south of Cottman. Looks good into Center City. Most of Center City looks good. Remember, most of the streets, the major roads, have been treated with salt. The second side streets don't look so good. Steve, Connie?
Right you are, Mark. So be advised of all of that. And be advised, too, that if you're a parent of a school kid or if you're a school kid, it looks like right now the Philadelphia public and parochial schools have been closed, although we haven't gotten the official word, and we're waiting for that. But it does look like that. And if we find out more about the suburban ones, we'll bring that to you right away.
Yeah, we should also tell you as well that it looks like there are some delays and cancellations because of the storm as it's continued to move across the nation. So Philadelphia International Airport is having some problems this morning as well. Call ahead on that one. Well, let's talk about that freezing rain that has been falling for several hours now, and the ice, as we've been talking about, very patchy, but in some places completely coating the streets, and in other places it looks pretty clear. Dangerous morning ahead for the commute. And in fact, let's take you right now to the Blue Route and see exactly what you are facing here. This is right where the Blue Route meets the Turnpike Tolls in Plymouth meeting, and you can see that things look pretty good out there. The roads are wet and the temperature is cold, 20 degrees, and that's going to mean some icing, so be careful. Now to Glenside for you, and a live look at 309 right there by Beaver College, and the road's obviously pretty quiet at this point. Just a few people heading off to work this morning, but slow and go is the best way to get to work this morning in case you hit a patchy spot. Conditions no better in New Jersey. News 10 Live in Pennsauken on Route 70 right there at Airport Circle. Police all over the area really just warning drivers, if you have someplace to go today, use caution because it is a bit icy in sections.
Now, you just saw that the roads are movable right now, the main roads at any rate. That's because the local departments of transportation have been up through the night doing their work. For example, News 10 caught up with this PennDOT truck, lower end of Ridge Avenue in the East Falls section, laying down that salt, and we found out throughout the area that they have done a fine job. They're still doing it. They'll be doing it throughout the day. But as we have just said, it is the major roads first that get their attention. The secondary roads and maybe even your sidewalk are going to be problems. There have already been some accidents. Let's show you a multi-car pileup in Plymouth Township early this morning. About 4 cars involved in that. The westbound exit ramp from the Blue Route to Germantown Pike. No reports of any injuries in that crash. But let's go right nearby live right now where the Blue Route meets the Turnpike. Christine Perez, good morning.
Good morning. You know, it's kind of calm out here, so it's very deceiving because you can't see the sheet of ice, and I'm noticing a little ice drizzle coming down. Now, a lot of cars have been pulling to the shoulder here to take the ice off of their car. One of those drivers is Connie Muth. Connie, thanks for joining us here. Where are you driving from?
Hatboro, Pennsylvania.
Now, how are the roads?
The main roads are pretty clear. The side streets are real treacherous. You got to be careful when you're driving on the side streets.